And welcome back to Hannity. Joining us now with more reaction to the Harvey Weinstein scandal and Hillary Clinton's hypocrisy, counsel to the president, Kellyanne Conway. You know, Kellyanne, I've watched these Hollywood phony hypocrites go after you and go after the first daughter and go after the first lady of the United States. Oh, Melania wore high heels to representing the country on her way to help serve people in Texas. And I'm watching how they've treated women, and then you see the Hillary aspect of this and the donations from Weinstein and the money from countries that practice Sharia. Is this now just the beginning of a real dialogue of issues we've been pointing out for a long time?
Sean, it's clearly a continuation of the hypocrisy of Hillary Clinton and other so-called feminists like her. Why? Let's go back to the Oscars a few weeks ago. Can you imagine, for every unfunny political joke that was told, for every time the president's name was invoked, had we replaced that with Weinstein or rape or sexual predator, or if somebody actually had used her power on the stage? There were many so-called powerful, rich, successful Hollywood women accepting awards, giving awards. What if one of them, over these many, many years that this has been going on allegedly, what if one of them stood up in front of a live TV worldwide audience and said, you know what, instead of thanking my mother and my third-grade teacher and my producers and my agents, I'm going to tell you a story about what goes on here in Hollywood. And I'm going to do that now because when I was 22, I felt harassed and belittled and cornered. But now I'm double that age and quadruple that wealth, and I'm successful, and I want to save the next generation. Any woman out there who remains silent as the next generation suffered under this sexual predatory culture and this man, then they are complicit here, and they have no right to stand up and say that they speak for women. Now, let's be clear about something else. When Hillary Clinton and others, since you mentioned her, but many others, when they talk about, quote, women's rights and women's health, you have to take one layer off and realize they're really talking about abortion. They're often talking about abortion. When they say women's health, it becomes a euphemism for abortion. So when pro-lifers say, hey, you know, maybe it's not such a great idea to have an abortion in the 8th or 9th month, and they say a woman has a right to do what she wants with her body. Hey, folks, hey, ladies, a woman has a right to keep her body free from sexual predators who are allegedly threatening them if they don't comply, or dangling goodies, Hollywood goodies in front of them if they do comply.
So basically, if you have the right political positions, Hollywood will forgive all of Bill Clinton's atrocious examples of abusing women. These weren't consensual relationships. Monica, maybe, yeah, but not Kathleen, Willie, Paula Jones, Jennifer Flowers, or maybe Jennifer was, but she was trash for telling the truth, or Juanita Broderick. And we'll also forget Roman Polanski because he's such an oddist. And we'll forget that Hillary took all this money from all these countries, and they bought her silence because she never criticized the countries that donated so many millions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation, that abuse women the way they do and persecute gays and lesbians and Christians and Jews. Isn't that really the truth here? Isn't that the biggest hypocrisy in this?
It is the truth. It is the truth. It really was a major storyline last year about the foundation taking money from these countries that oppress women and girls, don't give them basic rights that your daughter and my daughters and me enjoy every single day. There's something else here. I mean, you mentioned Bill Clinton. Just remember, if you're talking about sexual harassment in the workplace, he paid $800,000 to settle in money. That's money from 20 years ago. So imagine how much the value is now to settle such a suit. So Hillary Clinton's got some experience in this space. But most importantly, look at the juxtaposition in my workplace just today and what we're talking about in Hollywood with all these so-called feminists standing up for women's rights who remained silent and didn't help. Just today in the White House, Donald Trump, the President of the United States, did yet again what he's been doing his entire career. He elevated another woman to a position of power.
She'll be attacked next.
His Secretary of Homeland Security nominee, that makes two women that have the top 2 spots in Homeland Security if she is confirmed. Elaine Duke, the deputy, and the new Madam Secretary, Kirstjen Nielsen. Kirstjen, of course, is the latest in any number of women that President Trump has elevated, gave women a chance in New York real estate when no man would. Certainly in his corporation, his campaign, his White House, his cabinet. And I thought it was just such a juxtaposition today to think about what the two parties are dealing with. And also, this is a president who, when he says, I'm going to empower women, how did he do that today? He signed an executive order in health care that helps millions of American women who post-Obamacare have no health insurance, Sean. It's huge. And he's out there last night with the truckers and others in Pennsylvania promising them middle-class tax relief. That's the way you empower women. You help them when you're in a position to do that. These people in Hollywood failed. This president is succeeding.
All right, let me play. You know, last night before the president arrived for the interview, and I can't let you go without an important political question, I went through the crowd. All right, you might argue, okay, this is a pro-president crowd because they were there to see him. I asked about the president. They love the president. I asked about the Republicans in Congress. I would assume a lot of these people there are Republicans, and about the media. Watch this reaction. This is from the people that were in Harrisburg last night. Senate.
They're doing a terrible job. They need to get on board, because if they don't, what just happened in Alabama, you're going to see happen a lot of places.
That's the canary in the coal mine.
Absolutely.
How is the Congress doing?
Terrible.
Terrible. Terrible.
Congress needs to get on board and realize Donald Trump, love him or hate him, he is what America picked.
So the Republicans have the House and the Senate. You're angry at them?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Angry?
Yes.
Angry.
Angry.
Livid.
Congress?
Not so fantastic, but, you know, I have hope that we can turn it around.
What do you think of the news media?
Well, I mean, you guys are fabulous, but CNN is fake news.
Fake news. Fake news. You agree with that?
I totally agree with that.
I knew Fox is doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
True coverage. CNN, not so much. Exact opposite. I think the ignorance on the left is horrible.
How bad is the media?
Bad. Really bad.
Who's the worst?
Horrible.
CNN. NBC. CNN.
Take your pick.
It's fascinating. The public gets it. Congress isn't doing their job. Will they get this tax bill done, Kellyanne? Because if they don't, they really need to go.
They need to. They must. Because look what happened today when Congress failed to repeal and replace Obamacare the way they all promised to do for 8 years. 8 months on the job. President Trump signs an executive order in to actually give some relief and open up some competition and choice. So he will take action every time he can, Sean, outside the legislative process where it doesn't fail or where he's able to act, which he's done. I look at how much the stock market and all the confidence indicators love what this president is doing. When it comes to tax reform, we're very hopeful that Republicans will make good on their own promises to their constituents to give middle-class tax relief, to make us more competitive, to keep the jobs and the wealth here in this country, and stop punishing our employers, and repatriate the $2.8 trillion that's legally parked overseas, give child care tax credit, expanded elder care tax credit, and also to do away with the marriage penalty, the death tax, all these legacy businesses. This is the way you help people. And when it comes to the media, I love the fact that General Kelly, our chief of staff today, took to the White House press room and took the case right to the media, basically said, you're lying.
They are liars.
You're lying.
They do lie with regularity, and we pointed out. All right, Kellyanne, great to see you.
And they don't need to. They don't need to. We're accessible. They just have to stop lying about Palace Intrigue.
They can't
He's doing
help.
a fantastic job. He has the president's
It's like
confidence.
they're drug addicts. They're addicted to the lies now and their own conspiracy theories.
But it doesn't help. It doesn't help the people. It helps the people to know what tax reform and health care reform will really do for them. That's going to help them.
They see it clearly now.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I agree.
Kellyanne, good to see you.
Look at the approval ratings.